Oh hey, look, another AAA sequel with hundreds of developers and million-dollar budgets. This has gotta be a good game, right? It's no wonder why people are just getting fucking fed up with video games these days. There are good video games out there. You just gotta dig through the massive piles of shit that is the video game industry. Let me save you some time and give you my top 20 games of all time.
Number 20. Super Mario Bros. 3. In terms of Mario games, this one is my overall favorite. I remember when I was a kid and I played this for my Game Boy Advance SP, and man did I clock hours into this game. To me, the controls are nice and tight, the game looks good, and the power-ups are some of the best in the series in my opinion. And here on the Omega Pro Show, my opinion is fact. I know some people are gonna disagree and say that Super Mario World is better, and while it is just a superior game, I, for some fucking reason, prefer Bros 3. If you haven't played one of the older Super Mario Brothers games, either Super Mario World or Bros 3 is a great starting point. Number 19. Sonic and Knuckles. When I was just a wee chap, I had both the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo. Yeah, I was pretty much a baller. Anyway, I usually use my Sega Genesis more, thus I was more of a Sonic kid than a Mario one, and Sonic & Knuckles is my favorite Sonic game. Now, I have no clue if I am completely blinded by nostalgia, but I just really do love this game. Up until this point, I was used to Sonic and the damn little bitch-ass tails that would blindly follow your every fucking move. Then came this little red fucking thing that I knew nothing about. All I knew was that this little red motherfucker can glide. I couldn't believe myself, I was just in complete awe. This was a huge game changer to the Sonic formula. Sonic can run fast and go through loops and shit. And fuck that, Knuckles can punch and fly. Meanwhile, Luigi is just a green Mario.
Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Number 18. The Onimusha series. These games are definitely a hidden gem from Capcom. These days, we're used to seeing Capcom do a Street Fighter 4 Part 12 Super Hadouken Edition or whatever the fuck can get the money. However, there was a point where they were the developer for some original IPs, and Onimusha is one of them. I'm gonna be really honest here, the voice acting in this game is the audio version of Blue Waffle. However, the gameplay is, in my honest opinion, superb. If you weren't playing games in the PS2 era, then I don't think I can recommend you this game, just because the gameplay can be a little bit confusing, especially in comparison to games these days. Each game is pretty different from one another, which makes playing through the entire series enjoyable.
Each game is pretty different from one another, which makes playing through the entire series pretty damn enjoyable because each one is not the fucking same copy and paste game that we've been getting for 5 fucking years.
Number 17. Pokemon Emerald. A Pokemon game is bound to be in any sane person's top games list. The question is, which will it be? To me, it's Emerald, which brought Sapphire and Ruby into one game of awesomeness. I still remember, clear as day, when I was on my way to get my Rayquaza. This might sound a little sad, but I think when I finally caught that little fucker, I was the happiest I'd ever been up until that point. So much fucking accomplishment into one little 8-bit Pokeball.
And that was the first time, and only time actually, now that I think about it, that my mom was proud of me. Excuse me.
Number 16. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. I just recently got to play this game for the first time, and it is absolutely amazing. I kind of regret being a Sega kid because I missed out on some games like this in their prime. The SNES had so many games where the game mechanics are just flawless. Link controls great and I love the swordplay. Sometimes it gets annoying not being able to slash diagonally, but that's why you can spin like you're fabulous. Plus, no matter what, I can never hold in my laugh when Link runs to the side. He just looks so small, yet he's trying to be intimidating. He's like the video game version of Kim Jong-un. Number 15. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor Overclocked. From the combat to the story, this game is purely awesome. It plays a bit like Final Fantasy Tactics in that you can move to certain places on the map and attack enemies. However, in this game you can collect and fuse demons. It's like Pokemon except death and, you know, all that other shit. What more could you want from a game? The characters in this game are diverse and entertaining, each full of strengths and flaws, not only in combat, but in personality. I love when a game gives every character its share of flaws, makes them feel real, you know? Number 14, the Devil May Cry series. Again, another game series from Capcom's heyday. This game had a big part in setting the way for the flurry of hack and slash games that would be released. The order of my favorite Devil May Cry games are 3, the new DMC, 1, 4, and 2. Yes, I really enjoy the new DMC, and I truly believe that if you think the game is horrible, you're just being an immature little bitch. If it had a lock-on feature, its combat would be one of the best in the series. I really like how the new DMC actually implemented a more intriguing story. I've always been a fan of the DMC story, but the new one just brought it to a new level.
Well, here come the fuck emo Dante comments, motherfuck.
Number 13, Super Metroid. As I've said previously, I was a Sega kid, but lately I've been going back and playing some of the SNES classics, and this is definitely one of them. Everything about this game is perfect from a mechanical standpoint. Level design is near flawless, everything that happens in the game is really up to you, meaning if you die, it was your fault, not the game. If I could have one thing from the SNES days of gaming, it would be just that. I hate dying and feeling like it was the game's fault instead of my own incompetence. It's weird that I choose this game as one of my favorites though, because I do utterly suck at video games, yet I like this game and it requires some sort of thought and skill. Just goes to show you how good it really is. Number 12, Ratchet Clank. From the PS2 era, there were 3 main adventure platforming games: Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter, and Ratchet Clank. My favorite of the 3 is without a doubt Ratchet & Clank. I feel like the game's mechanics perform better and overall more reliably than the other 2. Plus, this game is funny as shit. I absolutely love the banter and the kind of friendship that Ratchet & Clank had. Maybe if I had a Clank, I finally wouldn't be a loser. But I dream. Number 11, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. To this day, I have yet to play a better portable game than Crisis Core. At the time I played it, I had no idea it was a spin-off of Final Fantasy VII, I just knew it was a Final Fantasy game, and it was a pretty amazing one at that. I really liked the combat system because it was more action-packed and not turn-by-turn. Not to mention, for a PSP game, it is drop-dead gorgeous, especially at them cutscenes. I can only imagine how much more amazing this game would have been if I had actually played Final Fantasy VII in its entirety.
Yeah, you've heard me. I never beat Final Fantasy VII. Fuck me, right? Sounds about fucking good right now, man. I'm recording this shit.
Number 10, Super Smash Bros. Melee. Melee is my favorite in the Smash series. I just feel like it's the most well-rounded. This game is just pure combat fun and hilarity. Melee is one of the most fun times you can have with a group of people just beating on each other with your favorite Nintendo character. This is really the most unique fighting game on the market, and no other game has been able to replicate it.
If you haven't played Melee, then I don't even fucking know. You just haven't played Melee. You should probably go play it. It's a fucking fun game and stuff. Just recommend it. Go play it. So you fucking get it, play it on your Wii, you can get it, play it on a GameCube, whatever, just fucking play the game.
Number 9, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. This is by far my favorite Zelda game of all time. This game divided Zelda fans in half. Some hated it and some loved it. I'm in the love it camp, quite obviously. I really like the art direction in this game, and I like how it didn't try to take itself too seriously. It provides for a really enjoyable experience, and the music in this game, just like all other Zelda games, is immaculate. This game will always be special to me no matter how dated it'll get in the future. However, for the time being, this game is just as good as it was in the GameCube days, and I think that's largely in part due to the graphic style. I cannot wait for that Wii U version. Number 8, Heavy Rain. This is a video game that proves that video games are an art form. The storytelling is above most of the crap that Hollywood will shit out these days. If you really want a game with a thick plot that you can actually change, then this is the game for you. Fair warning, there isn't much gameplay to be had here. However, if you can appreciate the narrative, this game will put you through the most enjoyable, emotional roller coaster ever. Number 7. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. This game has essentially no plot, which usually for me means that I want nothing to do with the damn game. However, Monster Hunter changes all of that with nearly perfect game mechanics and the most enjoyable fights I've ever experienced, seconded only to one other game that I'll get to a little bit later. You will spend hours grinding to get that new armor or to get that new weapon. Each weapon acts as a whole different class, and in each class there are tons of different weapons with tons of different abilities to them. Also, the massive amounts of armor in the game can be combined to get some really cool effects that'll help you in battle. This is one of the best, most addictive games I've ever played.
Dear Capcom, more of this, less of Street Fighter 4 Part 28 Super Arcade Mega Hadouken Edition. Signed, every gamer to ever exist. Ever. P.S. Where the fuck is Mega Man?
Number 6. Ni no Kuni. This is one of the finest JRPGs I've ever played, period. It is so charming and touching. The characters are just so entertaining. It really is like playing a video game version of a Studio Ghibli film. The combat system is unlike anything I've ever seen in a game, and it is just pretty damn awesome. My only issue with the game is the massive amount of micromanagement you have to do. But I can't let my suckiness at the game take away from what is truly one of the best JRPGs that has graced this current generation of consoles. Number 5. Shadow of the Colossus. When I talked about Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, I said that it had some of the best battles, seconded by only one other game. This is that game. Each and every Colossus you slay is an adventure in itself. The battles are huge, quite literally. You're going up against giant monsters that are 100 times your size, and you really feel triumphant after killing one. Then, the game does something amazing, where it makes you question yourself. Are you an evil person? The game just throws you in, and you have to just kill these colossi for an undetermined reason. Just maybe you're an asshole. But even if you are an asshole, the game is still so much fun. Number 4. The Kingdom Hearts series. From the console titles to the handheld ones, each and every Kingdom Hearts game has an experience to deliver, an amazing experience at that. The story is surprisingly invigorating and heartfelt, and this is a game where Donald motherfucking Duck and Goofy are your combat buddies. Speaking of the combat, it is unmatched for an action RPG. It's simple but intricate, which is a lot harder to pull off than it sounds, but Kingdom Hearts pulls it off flawlessly. The latest addition to Kingdom Hearts, Dream Drop Distance, is one of the best in the series, which breeds hope that when we finally get a Kingdom Hearts 3, it will be more awesome than we could have hoped for. Number 3. The Walking Dead game by Telltale. The Walking Dead is one of my favorite shows on TV, so a quick game cash-in about a spin-off plotline of a few characters from the show sounds pretty easy, right? Well, unfortunately not for Activision. Thankfully, we have a Walking Dead game to be proud of. I'm talking about the masterpiece that Telltale has created. I love the Walking Dead lore so much because each medium is different. The comics are its own thing, the game is its own thing, and the show is its own thing. The Walking Dead is one of the most emotional experiences I've ever had while gaming. I grew seriously attached to each character and wanted to play the game more, not for the sake of progression, but to find out what happens to each character. Telltale did something outstanding with this game. Let's just hope that they can replicate that with Season 2. Number 2. The Mass Effect series. This is one of the best combinations of gameplay and story ever created. There's a decent variety of weapons and the gun mechanics are relatively fun. Combine that with the entertaining biotic powers and you've got the best third-person shooter ever. However, that wasn't enough for BioWare. They decided to throw in one of the best examples of gaming being an art form with an unparalleled story and decisions that matter. People can actually die all because you fucked up. You will be faced with hard decisions and multiple playthroughs of the series. I rarely complete video games, I'm not ashamed to admit it. But I have beaten Mass Effect at least 3 times each game. More than that for part 2, which is my favorite. Also, you get to make love with aliens. Or humans if you're fucking boring. All I gotta say is hashtag Team Tally, bitch. Number 1. Persona 4. I recently completed this game, and with everything considered, this is my favorite game of all time. When I completed this game, it was stuck in my mind for about 2 weeks. I just wanted to experience the universe all over again. The Walking Dead and Mass Effect give you tight relationships with your friends. This game amplifies that considerably. You end up feeling like you're some of your friends' lifeline. Like if you weren't there, their life would just have been awful. The relationships you have in this game felt so real. Your friends were faced with real issues and you had to be a real friend right back to them. Surprisingly, the part I loved most about this game was the whole high school simulation part. Luckily though, when you have to go through those dungeons, each one is different, unique, and very fun. I love the fact that if you build up strong bonds, your teammates will perform better in battle, which makes you want to grow closer to characters you wouldn't have initially. Then you become pleasantly surprised with how that character deals with their issues and their backstory. You also get to have actual relationships in this game, like, love relationships and shit. And get this, you can have an unlimited amount of said relationships.
So, in this game you get a large group of friends, an endless amount of girlfriends. I mean, it's pretty much the exact opposite to my life. What more could you want in a game? And those are my favorite games at the moment. Now, my favorite games fluctuate a lot, so who knows, maybe there could be an update video in like a month or two. I don't fucking know, cause my opinion changes a lot. I'm like a fucking female in that regard. Not saying that females' opinions always change, that they're indecisive or anything like that. I don't like to be sexist, but, guess that's that.